What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Ladies and gentlemen, today's video is just absolutely amazing, especially for people who enjoy Modern Warfare 3. You know, if you still play Modern Warfare 3, if you're grinding through it, fighting through it, or if you just enjoy what the game has to offer, like me, myself, personally. Again, I definitely know skill-based matchmaking is a factor, so on and so forth, but out of the previous 5 COD games, this game has the most fun gameplay for me, and I feel like it has the most stuff to grind for as well. In previous titles, I mean, all you had was the Battle Pass. Modern Warfare 3, every single week, there's new, aftermarket parts that completely revamp weapons, and they're useful now. Before, Sledgehammer was introducing aftermarket parts that really didn't do anything, but every single aftermarket part that has been released in this past month plus have been just outstanding. I barely even use the base guns anymore with how fun some of these aftermarket parts actually are, so those are fun to grind for. Camos are coming out all the time as well. There's reasons to hop back into this experience. So, personally, I think it's fun. But one thing that was lacking was the variety. One of the biggest selling points of Modern Warfare 3 was the fact that it was going to have all the stuff from Modern Warfare 2, right? Operators, some of the maps, and most importantly, the weapons. Now, I'll be real, I do enjoy that there's some maps in, Modern Warfare 3 that came from Modern Warfare 2, because I don't think that they were all bad. If you go back to my opinion of Modern Warfare 2, I know, again, people put words in my mouth all the time on this channel. People like to claim I say things when in reality I never did, but I thought some of the maps were actually really fun in Modern Warfare 2. Not all of them, of course, but a decent, amount of them. So I don't really mind seeing them come into the Modern Warfare 3 rotation, but that's honestly just me. I think the mass majority of people out there, the biggest selling factor was just simply the weapons and the operators, of course. People who spent money in Modern Warfare 2. Those camos were going to transfer over for the first time in Call of Duty history. Keep that in mind. This has never happened before. Well, maybe it has, but not in current day, Gen COD, where they will definitely gladly make you pay hundreds of dollars for skins and then waste it away when you go buy the next Call of Duty game. But for the first time ever, they went ahead and allowed you to transfer them to the next game. So that was a big selling factor as well. But the weapons were they were horrible. I'll be real. You could use them to a certain extent, but you were going to have to go through a lot of pain and suffering. And then, honestly, when the game first dropped, it was horrendous. I mean, you couldn't even use it just to mess around with. There was absolutely no way you were going to compete with anybody using a Modern Warfare 3 weapon. I don't know if they did that on purpose because they wanted you to enjoy the Modern Warfare 3 content first before going back to metas and stuff like that. And if that's the case, then I kind of appreciate that, because let's be real, we all know for a fact that the majority of the sweats out there would have gladly picked up the Scar or the Vaznev from Modern Warfare 2 and just grinded with that since day one, and just sweat on everybody to get gameplay instead of just grinding and trying to get new content and stuff of that sort. We all know that's how it would have went down. So I guess I appreciate it, but still, they sucked. It was awful. But now, in their current state, if you guys don't remember, with Season 3, they went ahead and dropped a new update for the Modern Warfare 2 weapons. They are finally outstanding, ladies and gentlemen. They did a couple of updates, in the previous seasons. But each and every time, it was minor good changes. Minor good changes. But still not there yet. They made them playable to the point where you could just mess around with it without having to worry about getting sweated out on by, the meta classes in Modern Warfare 3. You could still enjoy them, but you're not going to stomp, right? Like, you're not going to be dropping swarms against someone who's maining at MCW, who's really good at the game. You can compete and you can get some kills back, but you're not going to be doing anything crazy. Now, we are in a whole different game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a whole different experience. These Modern Warfare 2 guns are absurd, and they feel just as good as the Modern Warfare 3 weapons. They finally did it. Sledgehammer finally frickin' did it. It's huge. Now, I will say this. With my playstyle, for people who watch me a lot, I mostly focus on ARs and SMGs, so that's basically all I messed with. I don't really care too much for LMGs. Snipers, I've been slowly trying to get into them, but I'm still not there yet. My main focus at all times in Call of Duty games are ARs and SMGs, because I personally feel like, with my playstyle, I enjoy getting streaks out of COD. That's literally my main enjoyment factor. You can call me a sweat, whatever you want, but I feel like a lot of other people, also share similar, feelings with Call of Duty, even if they're not, the craziest players. They're not 3 KD players. It could be a 1 KD player, and I still feel like a lot of people enjoy playing COD because of the adrenaline rush of, occasionally popping off and getting some crazy streaks. And like I said, it's a nice spark in this game. And from experience, ARs and SMGs are just the way to go. You can still stomp with LMGs, don't get me wrong, you can. But versing very, in the current day ways of Call of Duty, with how sweaty this community is, it's not as easy. Right? ARs and SMGs are always going to be the most reliable weapons in all, scenarios. Maybe not Warzone, because Warzone, you do want something that's going to tug, damage like LMGs and stuff. But in base multiplayer, yeah, ARs and SMGs are absolutely goated across the board. And they are all amazing from Modern Warfare 2 now. It was rough. Like I said, these past couple of seasons, it's been rough. I've gotten to the point where I don't even touch them. I just ignored them forever because it just was pointless. I just messed with the Modern Warfare 3 content. But we're at a good point. And I feel like this is good. I'm glad that it took this long for them to fix it. And that might be a hot take, because I know people wanted these Modern Warfare 2 guns to be good right out the gate. But like I said earlier, I just think it's good because nobody would have focused on the Modern Warfare 3 content. And it would have been even more like DLC, which everybody was complaining about. And, people still do have a good reason to think it's DLC now, but it has a lot of content. They were able to get 3 seasons worth of original content into the game, and now the Modern Warfare 2 weapons work. So, people actually tried out the Modern Warfare 3 guns, they ranked them up, they got stuff for them, they got other attachments in the game, and all that stuff can now be transferred over to the Modern Warfare 2 weapons now that they're actually functional. It feels good. It almost feels like, it's another burst of excitement for me personally when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, because it's more content to enjoy. I'm a man of variety when it comes to these COD games. You don't see me stomping with an MCW all the time, or, the same meta class. I love using different weapons. It's just something that I like about Call of Duty. Every single gun has a nice little spice to it that helps you enjoy the overall title. And now we have, times 10 the amount of weapons that are actually functional. And yes, I know I played with them in Modern Warfare 2, but this is still, people hate when I say this still feels like a fresh game, but it does to me. It really does. The movement and the gunplay and the time to kill changes and just the flow of the overall title, it's literally what Modern Warfare 3 was back in the day to Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2, the OG, was a slow, not tactical style COD, but it wasn't really running gunny. It was more position-based. And yes, you had Marathon Pro and stuff like that, but it took a while to get. You have to keep in mind, there wasn't a limited sprint back in the day. It wasn't a lot of the things that we have current date. It was a slower COD. Modern Warfare 3, even though it didn't have a limited sprint either, they took everything that was really cheesy about Modern Warfare 2 and just kind of perfected it out. And that's literally what this game is. And even though I enjoyed the OG Modern Warfare 2 way more than this Modern Warfare 2 in 2022, at the end of the day, I can still acknowledge that they took a lot of the stuff about it and just made it better, and it does feel like a fresh, unique title. And these weapons being better now will allow me to have more variety within the game. So expect on this channel to see a lot of gameplay, guys. It's not just going to be the Modern Warfare 3 content. You're going to see all guns across the board, and I think it's going to be, in my opinion, really fun. But I will say this, even though the changes are good to the gunplay, the ADS speeds are still a tad bit rough. I will be honest with this aspect. When I aim the gun and shoot the gun, it feels phenomenal now. I don't even think they need to touch upon that much more. I mean, if they do want to polish it off more, by all means, I'm not going to complain. But I don't think that needs to be prioritized anymore. I think the main priority is just getting them up to speed with the Modern Warfare 3 weapons in terms of the ADS speeds and how attachments affect the weapon. It's not all the Modern Warfare 2 guns across the board, because I do have a lot of, gun kick, recoil control, horizontal, vertical recoil control, all that stuff, all attachments that, help out with that. I have those on pretty much all my Modern Warfare 2 guns. And yeah, they still ADS pretty good, but there's a handful of weapons still. A handful of weapons that are still affected heavily by these attachments. And it still makes me not want to touch them. And I'm telling you, that's the biggest thing for me right now between Modern Warfare 3 guns and Modern Warfare 2 weapons, is that with the Modern Warfare 3 guns, it doesn't matter how many recoil attachments I have on it, it ADS is so freaking fast. Like, I quite literally do not even think about ADS anymore when it comes to attachments. I just literally look for benefits at this point, because it really doesn't affect you that much. Maybe for the heavier weapons, snipers, LMGs, but for the ARs and SMGs, they're really fast. They feel phenomenal with all the gun kick, recoil, whatever attachments put on them, and that just makes me want to stray away from Modern Warfare 2 guns still. I'm not going to, obviously, because they feel fun and I don't really care. I'll still use them to have some variety. But if there's one thing that I could say that needs to be fixed, that is it. Just, improve the ADS speeds and improve, those things with the attachments. And I think that all the Modern Warfare 2 guns are just going to be really addicting, and I think people are going to enjoy that variety in gameplay. But ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, give these guns a try. Please, ARs, SMGs, run them up, enjoy them, see what they're all about, and don't let people in the game tell you you're a loser for using Modern Warfare 2 content. That's another thing. I feel like people are just absolutely just scared to use any Modern Warfare 2 content because they think they're going to be called a sweat lord, when in reality, all the Modern Warfare 2 guns aren't even comparable to like the MCW or any of the other meta classes in Modern Warfare 3. So don't worry about it. Just use them, enjoy them, and see all the variety that this game has to offer when it comes to weapons nowadays. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And if you guys want to check out my live streams, I do that daily over on Kick. I'll be live today around 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.